Trump, but he looked young. It was when he was younger, and he looked very buoyant, youthful. And then I saw a bus of protesters, and I saw one lady with a megaphone, and she was like shouting out a window with a megaphone, and she kind of stood out in this bus of protesters. And then I saw a highly adorned king with a crown on his head, and immediately I got the impression that it was King Solomon. So I saw this vision of this king, and he will need outside help. I knew he was talking about Donald Trump. He's about to go through a policy sweep, and he will need outside help. And he said, so I'm sending in a man to aid him. And he said a King Solomon type. So if you saw the image on the thumbnail with a question mark, this is what that was about. One whose wisdom in this age is unsurpassed in many ways. So we know that King Solomon obviously was wise in a lot of ways, and in some ways he wasn't so wise. Like there was something, like he had weaknesses too, right? He had his strengths, he had his weaknesses. He obviously was the wisest man who's ever lived. But the Lord is saying this man will be viewed, I believe what he's saying is he will be viewed by many as a very wise person, and that in a lot of ways he will be as well. But that doesn't mean, they're going to get everything right, obviously. But that's just me. Anyways, then the next thing I heard are these are very specific events that are taking place. So the Lord is saying this is a very specific thing that's going to happen and that we're going to see happen. I heard the Lord say it will have something to do with both the Red Dawn and the hunt for Red October movies. A couple things they have in common is they both have to do with Russia, or what was then the Soviet Union. They both have to do with wartime, and they both have to do with secrecy or like hiding away. It's like an alternative timeline in the 1980s. So it's something that it never happened in real life, but there was like a what if, had to do with Soviet soldiers invading a small Colorado town and a group of young people hiding in the woods and then defending their town and fighting back, essentially. So the Lord said it will have to do with both of these ideas or both of these films in one way or another. This is what I heard next. I heard the Lord say, by this October, you will see it, a carving out of the people's rights, a societal fluke, a story to tell to future generations, a story to go down in history. And then I heard this phrase, this is on U.S. soil, among U.S. citizens and the military. And I heard the phrase, a firefight, a brush with the enemy, in quotations, who's not really an enemy, the enemy who's not really an enemy. And then I got this impression of something to do with this having to do with ex-military. And then I heard this phrase, they're going to attempt to right a wrong passed down by governmental authorities, but it won't turn out the way they want it to. And the Lord asked me to pray about this. And so I am going to do that in a few minutes.